Hi everybody, in this video we will be studying Standard 6 English, lesson number 1.2, Who's the Greatest? Greatest means Mahan. This lesson has two short stories of Emperor Akbar and Birbal. You would have heard the stories. Their stories are very famous. Emperor Akbar was a Mughal emperor and Birbal was one of his favorite courtier who used to solve his all problems. So let's just begin with our lesson. Look at page number 2 of your textbook. Lesson number 1.2, Who's the Greatest? Emperor Akbar or Akbar the Great is known as one of the greatest rulers in the world. Not just because he had a vast empire, a very strong army, untold wealth, but because he was a good human being, he cared for his subject. Emperor Akbar is known as the greatest ruler in the world. Emperor Akbar world के greatest ruler थे. क्यों थे? Not just because he had a vast empire. Vast means bigger. उनका kingdom बहुत बड़ा था. He had a very strong army and untold wealth. अनटोल्ड मीन्स इनकैलकुलेबल. उनके पास इतनी वेल्थ थी कि हम उसे काउंट भी नहीं कर सकते. बट वो इन चीज़ों की वजह से ग्रेट नहीं थे. ही वॉज ग्रेटेस्ट बिकॉज ही वॉज अ गुड ह्यूमन बींग. ही यूज टू केयर फॉर हिज सब्जेक्ट. वो सबको इक्वली और अच्छे से ट्रीट करते थे. He had great respect for scholars, writers, poets, and artists belonging to different religions. He was a patron of art and culture. He had a great respect for scholars. Scholars means learned person, someone who is expert. Writers means who write books, poet, जो poems लिखते हैं, and artist बिलोंगिंग टू डिफरेंट रिलीजन्स. उनके लिए अगर कोई अच्छा है, कैपेबल है, तो रिलीजन मैटर नहीं करता था. कोई किसी भी रिलीजन का क्यों ना हो, वो सबको इक्वली ट्रीट करते थे. एंड ही वॉज पैटर्न ऑफ आर्ट एंड कल्चर. ही यूज टू अप्रिशिएट, ही यूज टू लव आर्ट एंड कल्चर. The 9 gems or Navratnas in his court were famous. Many people believe that of these 9 gems, Birbal was the closest to the emperor's heart. Akbar loved to pose interesting questions or problems in his court, and Birbal never failed to come up with an equally interesting answer. उनकी कोर्ट में 9 gems और we can call Navratnas थे. They were the 9 person whom emperor loved. They were very famous and Birbal was one of 9 gems and he was the closest to the emperor heart. बिरबल एम्परर अकबर के सबसे करीब थे और एम्परर अकबर उनको इंटरेस्टिंग क्वेश्चन या प्रॉब्लम पूछते थे और बिरबल भी इंटरेस्टिंग वे में उनका आंसर देते थे. We don't know whether all the Akbar and Birbal stories that we hear today have any basis in history. They have been handed down over generations mainly by words of mouth. Here are 2 of them. The story which we hear today, their basis in the history is still unknown. ये सब स्टोरी अकबर एंड बिरबल के जो हम अभी सुनते हैं वो सच है या पास्ट में ऐसा कुछ हुआ था या नहीं हुआ था, हमें कुछ नहीं पता है. बट ये जनरेशन से हैंड ओवर होते आए हैं मेनली बाय वर्ड्स ऑफ माउथ. सो इन दिस लेसन वी आर गोइंग टू स्टडी 2 such stories. Let's see the first one. One day, the emperor entered the court with a very serious expression on his face. As soon as he seated, he said, I have a question for all of you. What should be the punishment for someone who pulls my mustache? So, what happened one day? The Emperor Akbar entered his court with a serious expression on his face. जब वो कोर्ट में एंटर हुए तो उनके एक्सप्रेशन से ही समझ आ रहा था कि आज कुछ सीरियस हुआ है. And after he was seated, he asked one question to all the courtiers that what should be the punishment for the person who pulls my mustache? Mustache means मूंछ. जिसने भी मेरी मूंछी खींचा है उसे क्या पनिशमेंट देना चाहिए. The court was stunned. Pull the emperor's mustache? It was unheard of. Flog him, give him 50 lashes of the whip, exclaimed one nobleman. That's not enough. Put him in jail without food and water, said another. After hearing this, the court was stunned. Stunned means amazed, shocked कि कौन एम्परर की मुस्टैच खींच सकता है, ऐसा तो कभी नहीं हुआ था. Then one nobleman exclaimed that he said that they should flog him. Flog him means to beat someone hard and give him 50 lashes of the whip. Whip means it is a flexible instrument used for lash. हमारे नॉर्मल लैंग्वेज में क्या उसे बोलते हैं, चाबुक बोलते हैं. ओके, तो उन्होंने कहा कि उस चाबुक से उसे 50 टाइम्स मारना चाहिए जिसने भी एम्परर की मुस्टैच खींची हो. बट देन अनदर वन सेड दैट दैट्स नॉट इनफ, इतना ही काफ़ी नहीं है. पुट हिम इन जेल विदाउट फूड एंड वाटर. Whip him, beat him up, hang him, cut off his offending hands. The agitated courtiers began to cry out. Only Birbal was silent. He was even smiling a little. Then the agitated courtiers, agitated means disturbed, angry courtiers, they began to cry out that whip him, beat him, cut off his offending head. उसको मारना चाहिए, उसके हाथ कट करना चाहिए. बट जो बिरबल वहाँ पे सब कुछ देख रहा था, सुन रहा था, he was silent and even he was smiling. What do you say, Birbal? What is your opinion? Then the emperor asked question to Birbal that what do you say? What is your opinion? तुम क्या बोलते हो इस बारे में? In my opinion, O giver of peace to the world, the offender should be given his favorite sweetmeats. Raja Birbal, are you out of your mind? Give sweetmeats for such a grave offense? The courtier began to say. Birbal smiled and offered an explanation. Yes, who would be so bold as to pull the emperor's moustache? Only his own grandson. Then the Birbal said that, in my opinion, that offender should be given his favorite sweetmeat. जिसने भी ये ऑफेंस मीन्स क्राइम, गुनाह, जिसने भी ये क्राइम किया है, जिसने भी ये ऑफेंस किया है, उसे उसका फेवरेट स्वीट मीट, उसका स्वीट फूड उसे देना चाहिए. और ये सुनते ही कोर्टियर्स चिल्लाने लगे कि राजा बिरबल, आर यू आउट ऑफ योर माइंड? किसी को हम स्वीट मीट कैसे दे सकते हैं जिसने इतना बड़ा, इतना ग्रेव ऑफेंस, इतना बड़ा गुनाह किया हो. Then Birbal smiled and gave explanation that who would dare to pull emperor's mustache other than his own grandson? किसी की इतनी हिम्मत हो नहीं सकती सिवाय उनके ग्रैंडसन के एम्परर्स की मुस्टैच खींचे. ग्रैंडसन मीन्स उनके बेटे का बेटा. When Akbar heard this, he burst out laughing because this is exactly what had happened in the morning. And after hearing this, Akbar burst out laughing. एम्परर अकबर ज़ोर ज़ोर से हंसने लगे. कि क्यों हंसने लगे? क्योंकि यही एग्जैक्टली सुबह में हुआ था. उनकी मुस्टैच किसने खींची थी? उनके ही ग्रैंडसन ने. और क्या अकबर खुद के ग्रैंडसन को पनिश कर सकते हैं? ऑफ कोर्स नॉट. ही वाज जस्ट टेस्टिंग हिज कोर्टियर्स. वो उनके कोर्टियर्स को टेस्ट कर रहे थे. नाउ सेकेंड स्टोरी. On another occasion, Akbar was relaxing with some of his courtiers. A few of them thought this was a good opportunity to shower praise on the emperor Akbar and get some favors from him. They began to compete with each other in praising Akbar. You are the greatest of the kings. You are the greatest of the kings or emperors that ever lived on the earth. So on another occasion, when Akbar was relaxing in his court, few of the courtiers thought it is a good opportunity. Opportunity means a chance to shower a praise on Akbar and get some favors for him. Courtiers ने सोचा कि ये अच्छा चांस है एम्परर को मनाने का, तो उन्होंने praise means तारीफ करना शुरू कर दिए. They said, you are the greatest. Then the another one said, you are the greatest emperor that ever lived on the earth. उन्होंने क्या किया, कोर्टियर्स ने आपस में ही कंपटीशन करना शुरू किया. अगर एक बोल रहा था कि यू आर द ग्रेटेस्ट, तो दूसरे ने क्या बोला कि यू आर द ग्रेटेस्ट ऑफ एम्परर्स दैट एवर लिव्ड ऑन द अर्थ. You are the greatest of all the people in heaven or earth. You are as great as God Almighty. You are greater than the God Almighty. अब सब कोर्टियर्स एम्परर की तारीफों के पुल बांधने लगे. एक ने बोला you are the greatest of all the people in the heavens or earth. Then another one said you are as great as God Almighty, and another one said that you are the greater than God Almighty. But can anyone be as great or greater than God Almighty? No, it is not possible. God is the greatest, right? God के उतना या God से ज़्यादा कोई greater रह सकता है? No, it is not possible. Now Akbar was no fool. He did not care for false praise. He stopped the courtiers and asked, do you all believe so? Yes, they answered in one voice. All right, then prove it to me. Tell me at least one thing that I can do but God Almighty will not be able to do. Otherwise you will incur our royal displeasure. You have till morning to prove it. Akbar then left the place without another look at the courtiers. They were in a proper fix. They thought but couldn't think of any such thing. In the end, they went to Birbal. When Birbal heard their story, he told them not to worry. Now Akbar understood what the courtiers were trying to do. He was not a fool. He did not care for the false praise. अकबर को पता था कि ये लोग इसे मस्का मारने की कोशिश कर रहे हैं. ओके, मस्का मारने के लिए ये सब बोल रहे हैं. Then अकबर asked them, do you believe so? क्या तुम्हें सच में लगता है कि मैं गॉड से भी ज़्यादा ग्रेटर हूँ? Then in one voice everybody replied, yes. Then Akbar told them to prove it. एम्परर बोले कि एटलीस्ट एक चीज़ ऐसी बताओ कि मैं गॉड से कैसे ग्रेटर हूँ, और तुम्हारे पास आंसर देने के लिए सिर्फ कल मॉर्निंग तक का टाइम है. एंड इफ़ यू डिडंट आंसर देन यू विल इंकर रॉयल डिस्प्लेजर. डिस्प्लेजर मीन्स टू मेक एंग्री. And then Akbar left the place without looking at courtier. Now the courtiers were in a proper fix. In a proper fix means in a difficult situation. अभी वो सोचने लगे कि क्या ऐसी कोई चीज़ है जो इंसान कर सकता है बट गॉड नहीं. Courtiers didn't think of any such thing, and at last they went to whom? They went to Birbal, told him all the story, and Birbal told them not to worry. आखिर वो किसके पास गए? बिरबल के पास गए, और बिरबल ने उन्होंने क्या कहा? बिरबल ने कि डोंट वरी. ओके. The next morning the court was full. Everyone was curious to see what would happen next. Well, said the emperor, have you found a good answer to my question, or are you ready to leave the court forever? Then what happened next morning? The next morning the court was full and everybody was curious. Curious means eager, excited to know what will happen now. Emperor said that, have you found the answer? If not, then leave the court forever. क्या तुम्हें आंसर मिला है? अगर नहीं तो यहाँ से हमेशा के लिए चले जाओ. Just then Birbal stepped forward and bowed low. Please don't be angry with those who think you are the greatest. There's certainly at least one thing that you can do, but the God Almighty cannot. Akbar looked at Birbal thoughtfully. And what is that one thing? Just then what happened? Birbal stepped forward. Birbal आगे बढ़कर रिस्पेक्ट में बोव किए और कहा कि एक ऐसी चीज़ है जो आप कर सकते हो but God Almighty cannot. Akbar looked at Birbal thoughtfully. ओके, वो सोचने लगे कि ऐसी आखिर कौन सी चीज़ है. When you want to punish someone, you can banish the person. You can throw him out of your kingdom, but God's kingdom extends everywhere. The Almighty cannot banish anyone from His kingdom. Akbar's face was lit up with a smile. That was very clever, Bilbal, while showing how I have an advantage. You have also shown that God is greater. I believe you. Akbar was so pleased with the answer that he forgave the courtiers for their stupidity. Then what did the Birbal answer? Birbal answers that when emperor wants to punish someone, he can banish that person. Banish means to ban or to drive away from his kingdom. एम्परर अकबर को अगर किसी को भी अपने किंगडम में पनिश करना है तो वो अपने किंगडम से उसे बाहर निकाल सकते हैं, उसको बैन कर सकते हैं। पर गॉड के लिए ये पॉसिबल नहीं है। क्यों नहीं पॉसिबल है? क्योंकि ये कुछ भी इस यूनिवर्स में है वो सब कुछ किसका है? Almighty God का है। And after hearing this, Akbar's face lit up and he was happy with the Birbal answer. बिरबल के क्लेवर आंसर से अकबर हैप्पी थे, क्योंकि बिरबल ने इसी आंसर से बताया कि अकबर के पास क्या एडवांटेज है, बट गॉड उनसे भी ग्रेटर कैसे है। ओके उन्होंने क्या बताया कि अगर अकबर का जो किंगडम है वो क्या है? लिमिटेड है, लेकिन ये सब कुछ जो भी है पूरे यूनिवर्स में, वो यूनिवर्स सब पूरा किसका है? अलमाइटी गॉड का है। और गॉड अपने ह्यूमन बींग को या अपने क्रिएचर को यूनिवर्स में से नहीं निकालते, लेकिन जबकि अकबर का जो किंगडम है वो लिमिटेड है और उसमें से वो किसी भी पर्सन को निकाल सकता है। And because of this, Akbar forgave all the courtiers for their stupidity. बिरबल के इसी आंसर के वजह से अकबर ने अपने courtiers को forgive किया। Hope you have understood this lesson. If you have any problem, contact me. Okay, till then, take care. Bye bye.